Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett. Here's an almond for her. I'm in a hurry. I only have like a few minutes to work on a bug today. Let's see what is going on here. All right. So basically, right now, what I want to work on next is like the um, what happens is whenever I create a new um, uh, visualization, Um, and then after I make that visualization, I change views, an extra animation gets added on. And so we don't want that, right? So that's what the bug is, right? That's the issue, written issue is. But the problem, and I've been trying to think of like an analogy or something, because this is like something that I experience all the time professionally. And the issue that is the problem that I'm up against right now is that we built this I built this animation scheme, this scheme for animations right at the beginning. Like I think it was maybe the first dynamic piece of information that I added, right? So basically what happened was when we first built this out, all it could do was show a single thing. It just would run up, it would just come up and just show a single visualization. So we've been growing that as best we can, but the problem is that when we first came it up, there was really no architecture, no structure, no nothing to sort of connect it on. And and the thing is so the bug, like I could fix the bug, right? I could fix the issue. The issue of I could just figure out wherever this thing is, wherever the animation is being created, and then wherever it is, go and write a little bit of like code to make sure one doesn't already exist or whatever. But that really isn't what I want. What I want is to build out a full blown architecture around animations so that I have a list of animations and I tell the animation service, go ahead and create me an animation and tie it to this visualization. But right now, what I think is happening, it must be like when it actually Angular goes to bring it up, I must have some code that goes in and just plops an animation in there. So like we don't want to just fix the existing architecture. What we want to do is we want to build out a new architecture that fits in nicely with everything. So that is the thing. And the thing is like when I first started in professional software development in 1996, we used to build these things called, we used to do these reports, and they were called a problem analysis, and it would describe like in a few paragraphs exactly what the problem that needed to be that we were sort of deciding if the customer would decide, okay, this is what we want, we describe what they want, and then once they said, yeah, okay, yeah, we want to pursue this, um, then we would do a detailed analysis of what needed to be done. Now, I mean, the issue that I wrote doesn't even live up to a problem analysis. It doesn't actually even describe the real problem. Um, but just so we could see it just doubled in speed. And if we look in here, we see that uh, we have two animations where there should only be one, and all of that. So basically, I want a full architectural effort to be put into here, but I don't want to just fix this. I don't want to just get this working and passing. I want it to actually be that. And the issue does not capture that at all. Um, in that. So like our system from 30,000 feet, they would never be able to tell that this is a big effort. And it's the other problem is that developers have this tendency to just over engineer everything. And so it's very difficult for management and people making decisions to figure out, are we over engineering something or are we actually fixing something that has a big foundational problem that needs a lot of work. And it's just like one of the challenges that we as in the software development world are dealing with. But I guess the first thing to do would just figure out, where the heck do we even create an ST animation? So let's do that. I'm just going to do a search on ST animation because I don't think that it's going to do us any good to kind of um, think through the what am I trying to say? It doesn't do us any good to try to think through the architecture of it because there is no architecture for it. But it looks like there's this thing where we export ST animations from this rollup. I wonder if everything's in this rollup. So we have a ton of these things. Um, so, anyways, I know that sometimes I use the rollup and sometimes I don't. Maybe I should always use the rollup. But anyways, so here's where we describe what an animation is. And then now we're in mesh. We're in the, oh, we're still in interfaces. So in mesh, I pull in the ST animation, which, oh, okay, because we have an array of animations. So anytime you want an animation to operate on something, you need to add it to this array, which I think we've seen that. Like if we go and we look at this and we look at the mesh, we see we have an array of animations and we have two of them. And there should only be one. And then we have this service unit tests, and then we have this guy. And it looks like this is where it happens. So it looks like we do actually call add animation. So let's go ahead and look at, I think there's a way you can right click on this and say show, go to references. So it looks like we added in this animation service, maybe. I don't know. I don't like that. Looks like there's 7 references in here and 2 references in the spec. So maybe we don't even call add animations. All right, so, and we know that we're going to want a dot in front of it because when we call it, we're going to be calling it. Okay, so this is happening in animation service. Okay, so it looks like I actually did build out a little bit of an architecture here because we have this animation service and this thing adds animation, I think. So let's just do that. Console.log. And this is something we just started doing, adding emojis. And if you don't remember, the way you add the emojis is you hit the little Windows button, or at least the way I do it is hit the little Windows button and the plus and the period, and that gives you some emojis to watch. There's probably better ways to do it, but so add animation. So here's where we added the animation. And now when we change views, and see here's where we added another animation, right? So let's just add a little bit more detail. Okay, so we're adding the animation for this renderer ID. 12, add one. All right, so we added an animation for one, and we changed views. We added another animation for one. We do not want to do that. Now I would assume that, whoa, I'm trying to think, adding, it's not really that we want to do something here, right? It's wherever this animate, okay, so animate mesh. Okay, so this animate mesh is a little bit weird, right? So I'm just going to add animate mesh. All right, so that is weird. So wherever we're calling animate mesh is probably not from the right place. It's probably, who knows when it's happening, but let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. This is going to have to be it for me because I'm sure. Oh shit, I'm late to work. Animate mesh. All right, so I'm going to have to go. Happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.